This is part 6 of Federalist 39. We're just going to go over the last 2 paragraphs of this paper. If we try the Constitution by its last relation to the authority by which amendments are to be made, we find it neither wholly national nor wholly federal. Were it wholly national, the supreme and ultimate authority would reside in the majority of the people of the Union, and this authority would be competent at all times, like that of a majority of every national society, to alter or abolish its established government. Were it wholly federal, on the other hand, the concurrence of each state in the Union would be essential to every alteration that would be binding on all. The mode provided by the plan of the Convention is not founded on either of these principles. In requiring more than a majority, particularly in computing the proportion by states, not by citizens, it departs from the national and advances towards the federal character. In rendering the concurrence of less than the whole number of states sufficient, it loses again the federal and partakes of the national character. So again, just like the past few parts of Federalist 39 we've looked at, it's talking about whether this Constitution that came out of the Convention in Philadelphia, that it passes the federal test, and whether the previous part we looked at whether it passed the Republican test, and now we have continued with whether it passes the federal test. So it says when you are trying to add amendments to the Constitution, when you look at the way that this can be done, you will see that it's partly federal, partly national, just the different methods that can be done. So it's interesting to take a look at how the Constitution can be amended. It's very interesting right now. So the last paragraph, the proposed Constitution, therefore, even when tested by the rules laid down by its antagonists, is in strictness neither a national nor a federal constitution, but a composition of both. In its foundation, it is federal, not national. In the sources from which the ordinary power of the government are drawn, it is partly federal, partly national. In the operation of these powers, it is national, not federal. In the extent of them, again, it is federal, not national. And finally, in the authoritative mode of introducing amendments, it is neither wholly federal nor wholly national. So it passes both tests. Some places we've had to combine both forms to make sure that the government that you have is energetic and will not interfere with your liberty and freedom, and will be defending it against invasion from outside and from insurrections from inside. One thing that you will read in the amendment process of this Constitution is that it starts by 2/3 of both houses of Congress voting yes on it, but at the end of the day, it has to be amended, it has to be accepted by 3/4 of the states. Okay, so when you look at that, you'll see the method that they chose, and that's why he says partly federal, partly national. So just make sure that you watch some of the videos on C-SPAN, look at some of these lectures that I have mentioned to you, look at some of these videos that were done by history channels on American Revolution and Founding Fathers. If you can, read this book. It's a thin book, and it gives you what happened in the convention. It gives you the characters and what led for these guys to go actually to Philadelphia to write this new Constitution. They have a video of her talk regarding this book on C-SPAN, and it was aired in November 13, 2002. It's on C-SPAN's archives. You can find it there. And of course, these are some of the scholars that I've mentioned to you: Gordon Wood, Jack Rakoff, Pauline Mayer. Just read their books if you can. If you can't, watch all their conversations, listen to all their conversations on C-SPAN, YouTube, and other websites. You can find them online. Of course, I mentioned Joseph Ellis. Just remember that in a lot of these books by these scholars that you will come across, you will see a reference to so many other books that are available. And if you get interested in that, you can always follow through and learn more that way. I read this book last year when it just came out, The Framers' Coup, and it's The Making of the United States Constitution. It's by Michael J. Claremont. It's a really good book. If you can watch it, if you can read the book, it's a thick book, but it's a good book. It's got lots of material that the resources and references. You can find a lot of books to refer to. And the author has 2 or 3 talks on YouTube. You can listen to those. Anyways, just listen to as many talks and whether it's panel discussion, lectures by credible historians, and that would definitely make it easier for you to understand the American Constitution, the American history, the American civilization better.